Okay, we're live on YouTube. Mr. Supervisor, the meeting is yours. Let me know if there's anything I can help with.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending our special board meeting regarding our emergency situation that we're in with our tornado. It is the July 29th. It is a 5:15 meeting. This meeting, this is a White Lake Township special board meeting of July 29th, 2021 at 5:15 p.m. Note this meeting will be held electronically as authorized under the Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976 as amended. Members of the public body and members of the public may participate electronically as defined on our website and posted throughout the Township Hall. That being said, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5:16, and I would like all of us to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance if we can.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
Flag
United States
of
of
the
America
United States of America,
and to the republic for which it
Republic
stands,
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
liberty and
with
justice.
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That sounded a little odd, but under the circumstances, it's great. Okay. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Supervisor Kowal,
Here.
White Lake, sir, where are you at?
I'm in Waterford, Michigan. Excuse me.
Treasurer Roman,
I am here via phone, White Lake.
Clerk Noble, Commerce, Michigan. Trustee Smith,
Here at White Lake Township.
Trustee Ruggles,
Here, White Lake Township.
Trustee Powell,
Here, White Lake Township.
Trustee Voorhees.
Here, present via phone, White Lake Township.
Okay. Thank you. Looking for a motion for approval of the agenda.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes, sir. Mr. Powell.
I would like your permission to amend the agenda to include trustee comments.
I suppose, although I know that a couple of us have got to be other places, and I don't know how long this meeting's going to go.
Well, let's
So-
make it short, and because we'd like to hear from you too as part of that. And,
Well, I intended on letting you know what's going on. We'll add trustee comments. I need
Do you need
support.
support for that motion?
Yes, I do. Trustee.
Support.
I have motion. I have support to amend to add trustee comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll
Aye.
call vote. Roll call vote. I was getting kind of used to being back live, you know?
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yep.
Trustee Powell,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. This time, public comment, if there's any out there. Are there any public comment out there, Rob?
No members of the public in the meeting at this point.
That I will close public comment and move on to new business. New business is resolution 21-026 to confirm resolution 21-025, the Township Supervisors declaration of a local state of emergency due to a weather event of July 24th, 2021. If all of you have read the declaration, it has been drafted by council and reviewed, obviously reviewed by council, and is put in place as part of our emergency management process, and therefore will hopefully allow us to qualify if available for some additional services and or funding to the township. Any questions or comments from the board at this time? Mr. Powell.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I noticed that this is a close approximation to what you signed as declaration as supervisor. I would like to know how you would propose and what the timing might be proposed for the ending of this emergency declaration. I'm a little bit nervous leaving it open-ended the way it's written right now.
It's written by a statute, okay? So then I've written by, and council has advised this be done because we're not quite sure what all is going to entail from this. So it could be resolved in 4 to 6 weeks. It could be resolved in 3 to 4 weeks. We don't know. And therefore, not knowing the process and not having gone through this and having a lot of different things, I do not want to either have it closed too early and not meet a criteria for potential funding. So therefore, that's why it's written the way that it is.
So how does it end then?
It'll end by being probably put out, quashed by this board.
All right, so are you saying that if we made it a year, that's not long enough? Or if we made it 6 months or 2 months, are you saying that we can't guess at how long it would be to make sure that we rein it in?
I do not want to jeopardize any potential funding.
Good
If you can answer that for me, Mike?
A year would be more than enough, probably.
But more, I would think so. One would think so. But again, it's not a situation I want to remain under for any extended period of time. I just want to make sure we qualify. Trustee Smith.
Perhaps it would make Mr. Powell and the rest of the board feel a little bit more comfortable. We could put this on our agenda in 60 days or 3 months or 6 months or something and just have a check-in period and an update.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It'll be quashed by the board. So it'll be out there. And as soon as I know, there's so many moving parts of this thing, and until we get them all lined up, and it just, these things, unfortunately, the information doesn't always flow or isn't as clear as you would like it to be on some of these programs that are out there. So this will take a little time.
One other question for you, Mr. Supervisor. Does this
Yes,
give
sir.
you any other powers than the emergency powers? What I'm hesitant of, we have government now trying to reach in and demand masks again and do all kinds of strange stuff. Does that give you the power to force everybody to wear masks again?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Okay, obviously I'm being a little bit gun shy here because of what I'm seeing going on around governments higher than ours.
I do not plan on superseding state or federal law.
Mike, can I say something, Supervisor Kowal?
Mr. Noble.
So under state statute, it's my understanding that, to answer your question, that state statute, we wouldn't be able to supersede let's say the Department of Human Health and Services, how the governor had enacted that prior. We all know that the other law was overturned in Supreme Court, Michigan Supreme Court. So we'd have to adhere to those to that law that if the governor came in. So I think the question is, how long are we going to have that? We in-house, we were able to have a discussion real brief as the next day when we were out walking, Trustee Powell, it was brought to our attention there might be some county funding that was set aside through ARP. We're still diving into that. As you were part of that meeting at the beginning at the command meeting, the FEMA money and such as that is, that's a long shot, right? What we were doing is collecting data and doing our due diligence and passing out water, as you're aware. So I think we're all safe on that area as I started thinking about it.
And I'm okay with that as long as Mr. Supervisor promises that he'll put it on every agenda of the board until it needs to be removed.
It'll be an item of interest on every agenda until it's removed.
Right.
That would be
Guaranteed.
appreciated. I think what
Yeah.
Trustee Powell is looking
Yep.
for is the checks and balances of the legislative body of this board.
Not a
So
problem.
if we could put it on every month, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
I have no issue whatsoever. In the meantime, any other further discussion? Looking for a motion? Mr. Noble?
I'll make a motion to pass resolution 21-026 to confirm supervisor declaration of local state of emergency due to weather event, which was on July 24th of 2021.
Okay.
Support.
We have motion from Clerk Noble. We have support from Trustee Liv Smith. We need to take a vote via roll call.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
and Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Next item is we had a meeting, a logistical meeting with GFL and also with the Oakland County Emergency Management, and we're trying to do a map of the area. Well, actually, there is a map of the area, but it hasn't been completely defined yet. Mr. Noble was present collecting data. Mr. Powell, thank you very much for being there and helping us go through that damage assessment. And Mr. Roman and many, many others that were out there in Douglas, thank you very much. So, and Liz, thanks for showing up over there for the support and at the day after and trying to do whatever you could to help at the command center. And everybody did something, that's for sure. And that'll all come out in the wash later. But right now, we have an excessive amount of debris that's been generated by this thing. If those of you who have not been there, it looks like a bomb went off out there. And I can't describe it to you. I cannot describe it to you. You have to walk it. And if you see it, it's unbelievable. And I was there Saturday night after being abruptly disrupted after dinner to respond to this and see the devastation. And it was in the dark, but you could still see, you couldn't get through the roads. It was just amazing. But nonetheless, we're moving forward. We're going to, people are cleaning up. We're going to have a couple extra pickups in the dedicated area. I cannot just disclose that area yet because it hasn't been totally determined, and it will be done on a GIS type system in the area of heaviest concentration that the emergency management will identify for us in its entirety. And I had a briefing with GFL. They came up with a presentation. They have done other windstorm and other damage problem areas, and they will do an excessive clean pickup of debris that will have to be placed out in front of persons' homes, and that will follow our general criteria of debris. At this moment in time, we don't have facilities or capability or facilities to handle any larger tree removal or doing anything, although I am searching for some other help if I can get it. I do have a lot of volunteer organizations that are starting to contact us, and we are reaching out to them to try to help a few of our homeowners that have very little means, or seniors that just can't make it happen by themselves. So we'll just keep working on that. So that's kind of where we stand. There's a large number of homes that were damaged. There was excessive 800 homes in the area that have been identified as homes in the target, we'll call the target area. That I believe will grow as time goes on, as our building official gets out there over the next few days, and we have received more calls from individuals. I'm sure that area will change a little bit, but we responded. Police and fire both responded very well. Everybody worked well together. Oakland County Emergency Management was very helpful, and Detroit Edison, I can't thank them enough. They came out here in an army. They are literally an army. And we lost all the primaries around the north side of Pontiac Lake Road. They were just gone, And that's a major deal that feeds that whole north end up in there. So that's what's caused the problem. And at one point in time, we had probably 80+% of, maybe even 90% of the residents in White Lake Township without electricity, phone and internet. So phone is still coming back online as they readjust their antennas with their telemetry, and which is a big problem because of the high winds and a variety of other issues that they're challenging. We also are going to have a debriefing after this happens to discuss the pros, the cons, and what do we do to make sure that if something like this happens again, what do we do better than what we did? We did find out that a key vulnerability that we have in city services is communication. Cell phones, we've become way too reliant on cell phones, and I am going to come to this board with a package here in the next few months to resurrect our radio communications program internally throughout the township, so that all departments and all personnel will be able to contact each other irregardless of the situation. So it's extremely important. Again, way too dependent on the cell phone. Anyways, so that's what's going on with that. So at this moment in time, I'll do trustee comments. Trustee Smith, I'll start with you.
I just have a quick comment on what you were saying, to include that in the future for the board members to have radios as well. Because just as you said, when cell phones go down, I spoke to Chief Holland about it. We could have communicated with each other, and we could have had a lot more involvement if we could get to each other. So if we had to talk to each other, we had to drive to the fire department. So just in the future package, if you can include the board members to have radios as well.
We'll get things worked out. Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Powell, I got kind of an order of, Mr. Powell.
Okay, thank you. And first of all, I just saw things that I never thought I would see, and that's that I was right in the middle of the original area of this tornado there at Hegradyne and 59, and saw debris and had a branch fly into my windshield and break it, and my car got trapped in the flood in M59. So I was there, but on Tuesday when I was visiting with people, our residents were in incredible spirits, and they are very resilient, and they are hardworking. We saw people that moving branches and trees that you would have never expected to do that, from old to young. And I was so proud of our residents. And 3 people in particular I saw just take up a banner, and that's Nick Spencer, Chief Holland, and Ted Lidley just stepped up. They were just like machines, and they organized everything, and they made all the volunteers much more productive than any of us would have been without them. And so my hat's off to those 3 and all the other volunteers. I was so proud of how we came together. And certainly we have some issues, as you pointed out, Mr. Kowal, that we need to address. That doesn't mean that if this happens once every 50 years, it doesn't make any sense to have $1 million of equipment sitting there not being used for 50 years. So there's a balance there, but certainly we can learn a lot from what happened on this. And I just wanted to thank all of you, all of my colleagues here on the board, and again, the residents. I would like, maybe Mr. Supervisor, if you could reach out. This is not unlike a funeral, to where during the bereavement period and the funeral period, there's a lot of attention and people are working with each other. But as the week goes on and the weeks go on, there are going to be people out there that still haven't had power and still have trees down, and their house is not repaired. And so, boy, if you could reach out to us and figure out some way that we can assist in finding places for people like this to live or helping them out somehow, please reach out to us, will you, Mr. Kowal?
I certainly will. I will certainly reach out to the board and keep this board posted as to what was going on. I called this meeting as quick as I could by law. We had no internet. We couldn't do anything. We had an 18-hour window, and we're finally able to get our ducks in a row and contact the world. We had a number of issues, but I'll go over in a minute. Are you good, Mike?
I'm good. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Roman.
Thanks, Rick. Well, I think Mr. Powell said it all. I was fortunate enough to partner with Mr. Powell out in the field doing assessment damage for FEMA. And I, too, was shocked at how much damage an EF1 tornado can cause. I mean, this was a baby tornado compared to these EF4s and 5s. But, my God, we saw houses torn up, trees uprooted and snapped like they were nothing. We saw road damage. We saw personal property damage. We saw boats, trailers flipped. Really shocking. It was really an awakening for me. But my God, to the residents that suffered through this incident, I praise you all for your resilience, your cleanup effort, for the help that you are all giving your neighbors. Just so proud of, really, guys, of how our residents are handling this disaster. Mike Powell and I, we probably hit 40, 50 homes. I did not hear one single complaint. None of these people had power. Their kids, their grandparents were out there cleaning up. Just so proud of how our residents have handled this disaster.
You good? You good there, Mr. Roman?
I'm
I
good,
can't-
Rick.
I
Thanks.
can't see you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep, I'm all set, Rick. Thanks.
Okay. Andrea Voorhees.
Yeah, I just want to talk about what a crazy time it was on Saturday. And I'm just glad I was safe and secure. That was one of the perks of this craziness that we're involved with, is that no one was really hurt or injured during this crazy time. So praise the Lord for that, and I am all set. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee. Oh, okay, Trustee Smith. I know you got to get that. Okay, I think she's got some business to attend to.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'll go quickly. Thank you.
Yeah. go ahead.
So I just want to say a couple things, and then I'm sure we'll all discuss this again as we continue on down this path. But I want to thank several people. We could not have done and served our residents to this capability so far without the tremendous and outstanding leadership of the county and the services that that they brought in so quickly to give us aid. So I want to thank them tremendously. We had the county come in, and hit the ground running and debrief us and brief us in the morning and set in plans and equipment and a trailer. And they brought in communication trailers, and they brought in their emergency response team. They brought in CERT, which is Community Emergency Response Team from other communities to aid our CERT. I would like to thank our CERT. They were so valuable. They were out Saturday night immediately. I'm a member of CERT, and I'm so incredibly proud of my fellow CERT members. They worked all night to clean up trees. They did door to door to do welfare checks and hand out water. I want to thank Kathy at the Dublin Senior Center. She manned it for days as our cooling location, and I sat with her a couple of those times, and there's so many people to thank, but the leadership of our county was outstanding. And then I want to give a very big thank you to Chief John Holland and Captain Ted Lilly. Captain Ted Lilly was basically our central command. He never left that trailer. He was cool as a cucumber. He was so on top of things. He gave affirmative directions. He did an outstanding job. And so did Chief John Holland. So I just want to thank everybody. And then in the future, I would like to propose, and just put this thought in my colleagues' bonnet for the moment. I'd like to propose like a safety task force moving forward, and perhaps some of the colleagues and myself that were out there and saw it and walked doors could be a part of that. And we could evaluate our community and be best prepared for an emergency. Hopefully there's no emergency in the future, but there was a few holes here and there and things that we can be better prepared for. So I'd like to explore that in the future. Thank you so much for everybody, and thank you to our residents. Mr. Roman's right. Our residents handled this so well and were so neighborly and got out there and helped as a community should. And I'm really proud of our residents. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Noble.
I'd just like to compliment the entire board for a job well done, for teamwork. As I previously stated, we're all a team. There's no I in team. I would like to thank, being involved in several critical incidents, I'd like to thank all the firemen, all the policemen that went there, Chief Keller, Chief Holland, because when power outages go out, we have a lot of looting. People are, but without power. So the extra patrols that were put in place by Chief Keller and his staff, Chief Holland's firemen, the firemen that worked tirelessly throughout, day in and day out. I'd especially like to thank Captain Lilly for being a part of Central Command. We haven't had a tornado like this. He took the bull by the horns. I'd like to thank Nick and Sean, the building. They operated at a high level from my experience in the past of dealing with critical incidents, and they're to be commended, and all the staff, Supervisor Kowal for taking the lead as our supervisor, all the staff. And hopefully we don't have to revisit anything like this in the near future, but if we do, we'll be ready. We know how to improve, how to be better, and we'll be ready.
Thank you. Mr. Ruggles. Mr. Ruggles, I know you had kind of a unique perspective of all this. Want to share that story?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I took some photos of that tornado. I don't know if everybody got a chance to see it, but yeah, it started forming right over the cornfield next to my house there. And not even my wife would believe it, but it was just still. There wasn't any movement of air, and you could just see the clouds spinning, and they started coming down, and then debris started to swirl. But one thing I will say is I've seen a lot of comments about the sirens. Nobody heard sirens, and we never heard a siren at our house. It would have been great if they did go off. Maybe they did. I don't know how we wouldn't have heard it, but that might be something for the future to look into that. But yeah, and then it touched down just past my in-laws' house. That's just enormously scary, and the damage is surreal. And one thing that pleased me is I saw our building official, Nick Spencer, issued a statement cautioning our residents about contractors and repairs and making sure they get somebody in there that's honest, professional, and meets code. And I would caution our residents, especially about tree removal and tree care. There's a lot of local, reputable, honest guys that will come out and do quality work. And then there's some other ones that kind of chase these storms from out of state. And I don't know if I call it price gouging, but I'd say just take your time, and get a couple quotes and look for a local guy that, has been around and is going to treat you good and give you a fair price. So, for everything, the tree removal, the repairs and that kind of stuff. But, everybody's done an amazing job, and we're all suffering through it together. But, I'm just really happy nobody got really hurt. It's a miracle, really. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Two, I'll call them, after looking at what we saw, two minor injuries that the residents are doing fine now, in my understanding. So it is truly an interesting thing. After having our Mike Roman and my having our evening, we happened to have dinner together that night, and our evening was disrupted by all this craziness. We did indeed hear sirens go off, but the wind was so loud and there was such a ferocious blow that I'm wondering how effective some of those sirens may have been in certain areas than others. I am and have been in contact with Oakland County regarding just that matter. And I also get results periodically when the first of the month on every Saturday at 1 o'clock when the sirens go off. I get the test report, and I did receive last month's report, and all of our sirens in the township are working. So we are going to take a look at that and see if we have some holes in the donut, so to speak. And if we do, because of our population growth, we're going to make sure that we get some out there. So that is something we're definitely going to take a look at. Yeah, amazing. 1:30, 2:30. Well, I don't even know what the hell time it was, but in the morning we're clearing roads, trying to get trees and debris. So we had to make sure that there could be emergency access to Huron Valley Hospital through our township. And we're out cutting trees and holding flashlights for each other and doing all that. And it was amazing because people would just jump out of their car and come running over and help us throw the logs off over the railing on the road and stuff like that. And just everybody responded. I mean, most people was just really, really a unique experience from that standpoint. And I'm just like my other board members, I'm just like totally amazed at the residents in our community and the resilience that they have. And we're working to help each other out. And we're not done yet, but the big push is to get all of the electricity on, like Mr. Powell said. That's important, and try to get all the communications back up and those things. I do want to inform you that I've had a meeting with the road commission this morning, our local superintendent of our area, and the road commission will be out in full force starting tomorrow and over the entire weekend doing tree clearing and as such in the road right of ways in the affected areas, and also if any of you have traveled any of the back roads that were not necessarily even in the tornado area, but that deluge of rain that came down, that was actually going sideways at some points. It just washed out gravel on so many of the roads. It was just amazing. Up Porter Road, it washed out there's a hill on Porter Road. If you go north, it washed out a gully there, probably about 3 feet wide and about 2.5 to 3 feet deep. Very easily swallow a car and immobilize it. And they were there right away. I actually had my vehicle out there in block traffic for them the next day so that they could do it unimpeded. So it's been interesting. We'll come up with more ideas on how to improve what we did. I think overall the response has been pretty good. No matter what, somebody will always have something to say about something. But I think everybody did a great job, and we'll kind of get into it all a little bit later. I want to thank Oakland County and everyone with it. Thank our police chief, our fire chief, all the staff, Captain Lilly. We all did everything. I thank all my board members that were able to come out there and do the assessment. It was hotter than Hades. And I gave away a lot of water. I still got a few cases in my car, but that seems to settle down. And Kathy Gordon kept Dublin, manned it, and kept it going there. And for anybody that needed anything, surprisingly enough, and I'm sure my other members that were out there will say it. We would ask people, "What do you need? What do you need?" We're okay. And it was amazing. We'll be all right. So it was pretty amazing, but we'll just keep pushing forward, and I will guarantee that this will be brought before the board for an update monthly that we'll discuss at the meetings. So that will end our comments, and with that, I will say good night, God bless, and thank God that none of us were hurt very severely, and I wish everyone a peaceful evening, and hopefully you can have a little air conditioning. I know mine's got to get I think a fuse blew from all the power going on and off, but so we'll kind of go from there. So I say I need Mr. Noble, did you have one last thing you wanted to say?
Yes, I would like to make an motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you for making that motion. I need support. Mr. Powell, motion, support. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Powell,
Yes.
Trustee Smith, Trustee Ruggles,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees.
Yes.
Motion carries, adjourned. Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
everyone.
Good night, everybody.